y'all, I'm Ellen. We've been super inspired by our journeys of self-healing and discovery.
And I'm Sam, and we want to share our experiences with you to help you get curious about yourself, reconnect, and get intentional about your life so you know what makes you happy.
Welcome to Woo New, the podcast. We're really excited to be sitting here today with Robin Devine, who is a writer, a mental health advocate for Black women, and also the creator of Black People Trip, which is a nonprofit organization that tackles the lack of diversity in psychedelics. And we're really, really excited just to talk to her because clearly this is something that's very, very near and dear to both me and Sam's hearts. And so, and we're both very big on journeying and very big on psychedelics and the benefits of psychedelics for therapy and for mental health as well. So thank you so much for just being with us today, Robin. Like we're really excited to dig in with you.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the space to share and yeah, just raise awareness. So thank you.
I think I'm like now backtracking and trying to remember how I discovered you. I know it's through Instagram, and I think I might have seen you post a comment or something on one of the psychedelic platforms that that both of us follow. I can't remember which one, but I was just so drawn into it was at Black People Trip, and I was just so drawn into your content and your story, which I just like, I want to know more, but I just really love your mission and your purpose to actually create more diversity and more conversation about diversity in the psychedelic community. So why don't we just start off by just hearing your story of how you even like connected with psychedelics in the first place?
Sure. So I didn't find them until actually last summer. I didn't.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm brand new to the space. I'm very new. But it was middle of the pandemic, and I was already struggling with depression. But that just amplified it, and I was in talk therapy, and I was on a lot of medications like drugs, other like psych drugs, and they weren't helping. And I felt like I was actually getting worse and more despondent. And so I sought outside or alternative therapies and found an article on Medium about a guy that had tried MDMA. And he said that one session with MDMA was like 20 years of talk therapy for him and his depression. Wow. Yeah. And I said, I don't even know what MDMA is, but I must find it. And so I went down the rabbit hole of like finding out what these things were and finding a guide. And a month later, I was in Brooklyn on my first journey. And
Wow.
I've been, an advocate ever since that day. So.
Did you know anybody in your community, like friends and family who were into psychedelics?
Not at all. I mean, my mother, I knew she had tried LSD once in college, 40 years ago, but we didn't talk about it. I didn't know that. So no one in my family or friend circle used them or talked about them.
I feel like that's such a common story with people who are like, okay, I've been down these traditional routes. I'm on all this medication. It's not working. I mean, whether it's your mental health or your physical health. And so it's super powerful. And were you searching for this article when you found it on Medium, or did you just stumble across it?
I stumbled across it. I just put in depression and medication options, and he happened to pop up. And he's actually how I found my guide as well. I messaged him and I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm brand new, but I read about your journey. I'm looking for a guide. Can you help me out? And he gave me her name on the spot, which I found was pretty incredible, knowing what I know now about how underground this work is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And what was the medicine that you used for that first journey?
We used MDMA mixed with psilocybin. So we did both.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's actually something I have not tried yet myself, but did you take the MDMA first and then the psilocybin, or how did that actually look? I'm like so curious.
Yeah, it was the MDMA first, and then she put the psilocybin and some applesauce, and I downed that. So
oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did you have any fear around that? Because that's a pretty, it's like to go in and not have had experience with a psychedelic journey before, and then to also do two different psychedelic medicines also. Was there like nervousness or fear or anything going into it?
Actually, no, it was an odd mix of ignorance of not knowing what I was in for, and also also desperation. Because at that point, I
Mm.
wanted to try whatever would work, and I figured the more the better. So you have two drugs, let's take two drugs. Great. I just wanted to feel better.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, so I wasn't afraid because I didn't know um, what a journey actually was. I just knew that it could be helpful. So I knew nothing, which I think actually helped alleviate a lot of fear that usually people have about these medicines. So
Did that particular journey, like, I would, like, would love to just unpack this first journey because
yeah,
I always find that the first one is always so,
Hmm.
um it's like a breakthrough almost,
mm,
like it's especially going into it completely like kind of blind and,
yeah.
open to whatever is going to
Mhm.
show up.
Oh, it was so great, and that's the perfect word for it. I was very open, which I appreciate now. But it was amazing. It was the first time that I felt self love, that I felt like really held and cared about. And it was the most beautiful feeling ever. And it showed me what's possible for my life, like how I can actually enjoy existing and and be happy and content and joyful. It was like a little opening to what could be. So it was amazing.
And what did you experience like right after the trip?
After it, I was like a little cuddle bug. I just wanted to like she had a dog that was there the whole time, which was great. I highly recommend having a dog nearby. But I just like snuggled him and she gave me like cheese and crackers and it was just I was so happy and blissed out. It was lovely.
That's
So
amazing. How long did
yeah.
it last?
7 hours.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it went by, I felt like it was 5 minutes. It was so quick.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Were you listening to music the whole time or how is the like were you laying down?
I was laying down. She had music that she had her own playlist, which was perfectly curated. Um, and yeah, it was very comfortable, the space that she had created for the journey. It was nice. And even though it was in the middle of Brooklyn, it was still very quiet and peaceful somehow. So it was good.
Oh,
That's so
that's
cool.
amazing.
How did
Yeah.
you feel after, like, after that day? Did you feel like the effects of it really lasted for a long time? Like, what was the time span that you went between the first two sessions?
That next day, I crashed really hard. Like I don't know what that was. I didn't know that there was like a thing where the next day can be terrible, which it was. I just physically was so out of whack. But then after that, as the week started to unfold, I felt this like sense of peace that just wouldn't leave me. It was like always there. And I felt that I had more energy. I was able to actually handle life and show up,
Mm.
um, which usually life just drains the mess out of me. I just every day is a struggle. And it wasn't that same kind of struggle anymore. I mean, there were still hard days, but it wasn't so sharp the way it had been. And it's just that like just lasted months and months. And I think I still feel the effects of that, believe it or not, all these months later. Um,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah.
That's definitely telling. Tell me how that first trip actually got you to become, an advocate and to even inspire you to start creating Black People Trip.
Yeah. It actually wasn't that trip. It was the second trip that I had with her, which was about, I want to say 3 months later. I'm not certain on that. Um, but it was right in the middle of the Black Lives Matter protests.
Hmm.
Mm,
And the world was just on fire. And as a Black woman, my heart was broken in so many pieces. And I went to her kind of in this really tender place and, hoping to find another human in the same space of just being devastated by what was happening. And she said to me, I'm in my little bubble here. I don't really let that affect me. It doesn't really have any impact on my life.
oh,
And
Oh,
wow.
wow.
just her lack of compassion and empathy, it hit me in the chest. And so I knew from that day that I wanted a Black guide for my next trip. Um, I wanted to have the option of, sitting with someone that had a shared history that was important to me. Um, because set and setting, who you're with and how your mind is feeling is so important. And I didn't know that then. And
Mm.
had I known, I would have left right then. But I went ahead and did the journey, and it was really challenging. Still useful, but it was hard because I didn't feel safe.
Mhm.
And so I wanted other Black women to have, options and to feel safe. And so that really inspired me to create the platform that I have now. So we can find each other and connect. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading that in your Medium article that you wrote last year, and I was like, what an experience. Like, you are so
Mm.
powerful and so strong. I was like, I can't
Mm,
even imagine going through that. And also that, like, that kind of thing didn't, like, the conversation around set and setting didn't come up with the sitter, which I find interesting as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
no, it didn't. And looking back, knowing what I know now, there were so many red flags with her. But again, I didn't know. I was brand new, didn't know any of this stuff. So that's part of why I do this work as well. I want people to be aware and knowledgeable of what they're getting into and who they're getting into it with. So I want to educate folks so they don't make these same missteps or have such a hard time with it because it shouldn't be hard.
Right.
It's not the work.
Right. Were you able to find like guides that were in the Black community after searching for them or starting Black People Trip? I'm curious because it's taken me a long time to find other Asians in the psychedelic space, and it's only in the last like month or two that I've been able to like join a signal, kind of chat like thread where I'm now connected to other Asians
Mm,
specifically in the psychedelic space, but
mhm.
it's hard. It's like they're not non-existent, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I have found some. I haven't had the chance to journey with any yet, but they're out there, and but they're underground because it is
Hmm.
Mhm.
so illegal. Um, I have found other guides, two white women who were actually lovely, and we had beautiful trips. With that said, I still want to sit in circle with Black women at some point. That's important to me.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, they are out there, and luckily, I'm happy to see they're becoming more visible, and more out there, more seen. So,
Sam had mentioned that article that you wrote for Medium, and, both of us read it, and we were just it was so insightful,
mm,
the
Hmm.
way you were talking about why more Black people aren't using psychedelics. One of the reasons that just popped out at me was, also just the connection between the Black community and just incarceration, like, I think that was such a huge, eye-opening kind of read for me. Like it's obvious, when you think about it, but it didn't even occur to me that of course, that's a huge reason or big flag for the Black community and not wanting to go into a therapy or medicines that are still considered illegal.
yeah.
But I was wondering if you might be able to just take us through some of the other reasons that you had cited why, psychedelics isn't more adopted by the Black community.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things we don't know about them. Like I said, I didn't know about that they existed until last year. I'm in my mid 40s, and I had no idea that they were even a thing. So one is just awareness.
Mm,
They're seen as the hippie white guy drug, not the Black soccer mom drug. That's not for us. And it is, but it hasn't been portrayed that way. Um, Another thing is, like you said, the incarceration rates are so disproportionate. We go to jail for any and everything, and we go more often
mhm.
than other communities. Um, so we really don't want to give people more reasons to put us in jail. That's
Right.
pretty much it. I mean, I have friends from college that are in jail for weed possession. And now, I can go across the line, state lines, and buy weed from, legally. It doesn't make sense to me. So, yeah, the rates that have to do better with that. The third thing is lack of diversity. Um, I want to learn from people that look like me, like, and again with shared
Mhm.
history, and we aren't out there yet. We're getting there, but I want black guides and black therapists and black folks to buy from because it makes a difference.
Yeah.
So, and let's see what else there was. Ooh, I'm blanking. Give me a second. I wrote that. I wrote that last year. Oh my goodness. Inaccessibility. It's hard to find psychedelics for me.
Mhm.
So one, being able to find them. Two, finding somebody to support you through them or on your journey can be hard. Um, so we need more accessibility. And finally, it's expensive. So not so much like mushrooms or acid. I'm thinking more in terms of like ketamine therapy or these retreats that people are so into now. They can run
Mhm.
you easily 3 grand. And
Right.
Oh, yeah.
oh, easy. And while they're helpful and needed, they're out of reach for a lot of people. And by a lot of people, I mean me. Like I wanted to go to on there's a ketamine clinic by Dr. Monica Williams right near me, and I wanted to go, and it's out of my budget. Would it be helpful? I'm sure, but I can't swing that right now. So we need ways to make this more affordable for people that want it,
Right.
so that they're not having to, go into more debt or cause themselves more stress just to get treatment or try to feel better, because that defeats the entire purpose.
Yeah, and just the sheer amount of drive and motivation that it takes to then to sift through everything and find resources and find sitters and find
Yeah.
the medicines. It's like if you're already not feeling well and you're already overtaxed, that's a huge
Mhm.
barrier.
I'm actually surprised that I had the wherewithal to do this work and to dig into it and find resources, because it took a lot out of me. It was a lot of work,
I believe that.
um,
Yeah.
but it was so worth it. So and that's actually why I'm putting together now a resource guide for people of color in this space. I want it to be like a one-stop shop, or where you can find somewhere to buy someone like a guide or a therapist. You don't have to you know scour the internet and see what you can find. So yeah.
It's such a good idea because I mean, you're totally right. It's something that I feel like, when I was looking for not necessarily psychedelic guides, but just any kind of healer, any kind of
Mhm.
therapist or healer,
Yeah.
my first instinct is to try to find another Asian woman specifically. And again, very few and far between when I was doing my searches way back. I think now there's more people in this space. And then also, obviously in the psychedelic space, more and more people. But it's still a very underrepresented category under like just wellness in general or
Yeah.
spirituality in general.
Right.
Um and I'd love to just even talk. I mean, it sounds again like such an obvious thing, but why is it so important to have guides that look like us and that share our culture?
For me personally, hmm, it just eliminates so many questions that may come up in my mind. So, for example, with the last guide that I had, not the last one, but the first one that I had, um, there was a point where I came out of my journey from wherever I was, looked her in her face, and said, "Do you support Trump?" Because that was on my mind. Even in the midst of a journey, and so with someone of color, I wouldn't have that thought. I wouldn't have the thought
Mm,
of, are you safe for me to be around? Are you going to hold me emotionally? And do you have my best interest at heart? Those questions.
yeah.
Are there unsafe Black folks? Of course. But there's a different level of it when I'm with a Black woman versus a white woman.
Mhm,
This is just
Right.
the way
mhm.
that life is set up right now in this country. And there's always a questioning of, are you safe? Are you safe?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's such an important point because, um, I think when you're talking about therapy and healing and all these things, it's like the cultural background, especially the way it's handled, it's like the cultural background becomes secondary, to whatever the modality is, right?
Right.
But to me, it's still very much a part of the setting, who it is that you are connected with. and it's their energy and their life experiences that also create that safe space for you. It's not just the physical environment that you are in, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I couldn't agree more, and it's been hard for me to articulate, because, obviously I've had many different therapists and healers across the board, like, all different kinds of backgrounds, um, but it's without a doubt, like, the ones I have connected with most have been the ones that share my cultural background, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
A 1,000%, and I couldn't explain specifically why, except that, yes, there is this intangible level of understanding that does not need to be spoken out loud,
Mhm.
and there is this natural sense of just connection. It's like when I look at them, I see a sister, and there's just yeah, it's just very, very different.
Yeah. I mean, my therapist now, my talk therapist, is a Black woman, and there are things that I don't have to explain to her. We don't
Mhm.
have to spend time going over what a microaggression is or why I felt slighted by this or that person. She understands, and that
Mhm.
takes a lot of energy on my part. I can just, yeah, just show up and share, and I have to teach her. I don't want to teach. I just want to heal and learn and be.
Right.
So,
I would imagine too that in a situation like that where it is so important to feel like you're safe and that you're being held in this container, that it's okay to have whatever experience is coming through, that things may come through that you would want a sitter to be able to like understand and empathize with, to,
Mhm.
because it's like stuff comes up, tough stuff
yeah,
comes up in these journeys sometimes, and you don't want to feel like the person who's holding that container for you all of a sudden doesn't know how to hold that space anymore.
exactly.
Right.
And I think it's so important for therapists or sitters to be culturally competent.
Mhm.
So, the last training I had was a couple weeks ago or last weekend actually, and it was a white woman, but she does her own work. And so I felt very held by her in every way. And whatever came up, she was there. She was
Yeah.
totally in tune with my needs. So, you know, for people of color, if they can't find someone of their own shared background, finding somebody who has that competency is super important, I think. So,
Thank you for raising that point. This is actually something that Sam and I have been talking about, and we're actually going to be interviewing these two women who created the Women of Color Summit pretty soon. It's coming up in the next month,
mhm,
but I've become a lot more um, just mindful and conscious of the fact that like there is no healing without decolonization work. And I
Hmm.
think oftentimes, yes, in the psychedelic space for sure, but also in the greater wellness and spirituality space too, you have healers who are working who do not come from that point of understanding, or it wasn't in their training. And so,
right.
you have yoga instructors who are just, there to kind of help people release stress and to look good and stretch out, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Or meditators who are just, like it's purely just about stress relief, but there's not this deeper understanding of the decolonization work that comes from the healing, and it's inherently there because we all live and have grown up and abide by the system. And so you cannot extricate that from it. But to have the level of consciousness in the healer or the therapist or the guide or sitter with that in mind, it completely it just brings a whole new element of groundedness
Mm,
and I feel like understanding and compassion that does not exist in other therapists, healers, guides, or sitters, you know?
yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, I would hope anyone who defines himself as a healer or teacher or guide in any capacity is, doing their own work now, is taking those classes and learning, even if it's not having a direct impact on them, it's impacting people that,
Mhm.
that they serve. So they should be doing this
Mhm.
work. So yeah.
Yeah.
Also, this kind of healing too gets, I mean, I would imagine in many sessions goes very deep into ancestral trauma, generational trauma, like past conditioning, things that you've just simply inherited. And if the sitter can't be aware of that, it's both a lost opportunity and a breakdown in that sort of connection of safety and grounding.
Totally, totally.
Right.
I get oh so many emails of people that are in this work saying, "What does it matter? You know, we're all family and black, white. What is it?" And I'm like, "No, it matters.
Yeah.
It's a
Mhm.
difference."
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Yeah, and to not acknowledge that, I feel like is kind of it's missing the boat, but it's also it's like not really understanding or seeing the trauma, that is so
Yeah.
blatantly out
I,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
total dismissal of it. Total. Yeah, it's very sad. That in itself is traumatizing to have it totally ignored and negated. Um,
Yeah.
so
Because then it's all of a sudden it's like your experience is invalidated.
that's it.
Right.
Yes,
And
Right.
that's it. And that's the exact opposite of what these healers and these sitters should be doing.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah. What are you hoping to bring out through Black People Trip? What are some of those projects that you are kind of working on or in the midst of creating?
Oh my goodness, it's so many. And it's like every day I have a new idea and I'm like, wait, stop. I have too many already. But no, so one is the resource guide. Two is a book just about my own journey with mental health as a Black woman in this space as well as with psychedelics. Um, what else? A podcast coming soon. That's in the works. Um, what else? Oh my goodness, I'm blanking. Um, I
There's
mean,
so many.
I know on my wish list for like 3 or 4 years down the road would be a people of color um, conference and of people in this space. I would love to see that
Oh,
happen.
I
yes.
Yeah,
love
we need
that.
that. We need that. And I'm doing courses online. I hope to do more in person as the world opens back up. Fingers crossed. I just want to share awareness and education and teach people to be self-sufficient in this space. And yeah.
I'm curious where 'cause we kinda touched on this a little bit earlier, but I'm curious, especially, we're kind of in our sort of infancy of our psychedelic or our journey with psychedelic journeying too. So we're all kind of like starting at the beginning, and that's just kind of what I love about it as well. Like we're all just exploring and learning all together. And they're really, I mean, yes, there are experts in this space, but I don't feel like the people that we have personally come in contact with are necessarily experts. A lot of it is just the personal exploration, and that
Yeah.
journey in itself is the healing,
Yeah.
and the discovery, right? So I'm curious, like from where you're sitting, what do you think about, like you had mentioned that ketamine clinic. What do you think about like the clinical, more psychotherapeutic approach to psychedelic therapy versus the more ritualistic, shamanic, ceremonial approach, which it sounds like I'm assuming that that was kind of like what your first couple of experiences were more like, more of the underground, right?
Mhm.
Um, is there a preference from where you're sitting as to which way is quote unquote better or more helpful?
Um, no, there's not because I feel like everyone is so different, and I feel like if it works for you, then great, go for that. The clinical side of it is not totally for me, or for some people it might be. Great, go for that. The more ancestral, spiritual part of it isn't really me either. But if that's you, great, go for that as well. I'm more in the middle. So I'm all about people finding out what works best for them and then doing that. So I don't think there's a better way. I think it's what's best for each individual person on their journey in this space.
Yeah, there's something that I'm finding just even in my kind of dive into I've been starting to do cannabis assisted journeys
Mm-hmm.
and using cannabis as the psychedelic medicine. And it's cool. Like Sam and I just had a journey together, and this particular plant is just so profound, and I'm just learning about it now because I was never super into like smoking, but now I have a whole new appreciation for just the benefits that just cannabis can bring
Yeah.
as a psychedelic medicine. Um, and I'm realizing that like there are sort of best practices when it comes to setting up a space, for journeying.
Mhm.
But I'm finding that like I cannot separate the sort of the spiritual or the ceremonial part of it from the more psychotherapeutic part of it. Like it has to go hand in hand,
Mhm.
you know? And so when I'm looking at these two very divergent ways of approaching psychedelic therapy, it feels like they need to be married somehow,
Mhm.
or like
Yeah.
it needs to meet in the middle a little bit more, right? Versus having, just taking like a psilocybin pill, for instance, like in a medical situation, and completely disregarding the potential spiritual experiences that can come from that journey or that therapy.
Mhm.
But on the reverse side, like if you completely exclude the mental health aspects of psychedelic journeying and you're just purely in the ceremonial and ritualistic side of things, I feel like you're kind of missing out on the other part too. I don't know.
No,
That's where I'm sitting now.
I'm right there with you. I mean, I'm in the same. I think it's in the middle is a nice marriage. You know, like my last guide was a trained social worker, a therapist. Although she's a friend, but that's her background. But
Mm.
also burned, during the ceremony of sage in Palo Santo, and I was like, okay, we got both.
I love
So,
that.
yeah, so she brought in the ceremonial and the spiritual reverence as well as the clinical training, which came up as well, or which helped as well. So, I think both are needed. And when we exclude one or the other, we're missing out on the full benefit.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, it was so fascinating too because Elle led me through this journey with cannabis, and I have had a totally different relationship with cannabis, in
Hmm.
that like I was almost skeptical, like I don't know if this is going to be psychedelic, you know,
Hmm.
but it was the process of sort of adding the ceremony and the way that we went into it and the combination with the music and the awareness of it that I think really brought it out. And I got done and I was like, I went on a full on journey. I was like, I
Wow.
was seeing all these crazy things, cartoon characters, like dragons. I was
Huh,
like, this was so cool.
that's awesome.
I know. It's like I feel like the more you dive in, the more you realize like, oh my gosh, the rabbit hole is like endless, and there's just so much to explore and so much to play with, in a sense. And I use the word play because I feel like there needs to almost be this part of this healing is also recognizing the pleasure in it as well,
Mhm.
like we're healing trauma, but also there is this like there is a playful and fun and creative exploration side to it that I also think is very inherent, just in the healing process. And if you disregard that, also, it's like then again you're missing out on a very crucial piece.
Yeah, definitely. Like when I see people in these clinical trials and like in the therapy room and it's very cold and sterile, I'm like, is there room to play and have fun? Like, can you
Yeah.
can you
Right.
can you get up and like dance if you want to or color? Like, is that an option? So I wonder about those, but there's that we need that in this work. That's a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
this work gets really heavy sometimes, and like we
Mm,
forget that we're also supposed to be enjoying the journey,
right.
literally and figuratively.
Yeah. Exactly.
Totally.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Are there any like leaders or teachers that you are currently looking to like both educate yourself, inspire yourself, in the psychedelic space, that you would recommend people following or reading?
Definitely. So everyone I follow is on Instagram. Those are
Me
my
too.
folks. But one is the Sabina Project, now known as the Ancestor Project, and the work they do with Kembo and just ceremonial and ancestral work is just it's beautiful. So I learn a lot from them. Um, Also, there's a woman named Microdose underscore NYC who does a lot with generational trauma, mental health, and how these medicines can support in healing that. So I learned so much from her. Um, Who else do I learn from? Uh, Again, I'm blanking, but there are so many. But yeah, there's so many great teachers out there. But those are two that I really make a point to look at every day to see what they're sharing. So
Hmm. That's awesome. We'll definitely include those in our show notes as well. Yeah, I'm gonna for sure like start following myself. Um, is there a how many trips have you gone on now since the start of your journey here with
um,
psychedelics?
yeah, this last one makes I think that was number 7. So
Wow, have you been doing it pretty much like once a month or so?
um, about that, about that. Yeah, sometimes it wasn't 1 to 2, but between. But that's about on average. Yeah.
And what are the medicines that you're personally using at the moment?
Right now, MDMA and psilocybin, but I just found LSD last week, so I'm super excited to try that. And I just found DMT as well, so that'll be
Oh,
those are
wow.
yeah, yeah. Looking forward to that.
Is there one journey that you found particularly profound and transformational?
Um, yeah, I was gonna say my first one because I had that moment of like just self love, but now it'd be my last one, this past one because it was just so loving and sweet and beautiful between the medicine and the guide. And I just felt, oh, I don't have words for it. I felt so cared for. And it really nurtured a part of me that I didn't know needed it. And a part of me really got healed that day. And, so yeah, it would be this last one that
Can you explain or break down for us what specifically was it, or what qualities about your guide made that experience so beautiful?
for one, she was present. Like she was there with me. She wasn't doing 10 things or on her phone or reading a book. She was with me that entire time, and really tuned into what I needed emotionally, physically. And she's just a very gentle spirit, and that was what I needed. So you know, I couldn't have asked for anyone better between her mental health background and then just her presence as a human. It was,
So
again, I lost for
powerful.
words, but it was magical and so reparative. Yeah, so reparative.
Were there certain things that she was doing for you, or ways that in which she was being present that you found really helpful?
Yeah, so before the trip, we had a long conversation about, what I needed it to look like and what was okay with me. Did I want to be touched or comforted, and what made me feel safe? So all these things were on her radar before I went into the journey. So, she
Mm.
knew that it was okay to hold my hand or to touch my shoulder. That was okay with me. Um, but just her doing that prep work to really get to know me and what I wanted from the trip was really important and made me feel super safe and cared for. So,
Yeah. I mean, part of me is like, wow, that's so incredibly beautiful. I'm so happy that you found her and had that experience. And then part of me is like, I can't believe some sitters aren't doing that.
I, I
I
know,
know.
I know. Yeah, no. So, yeah.
I know. I think part of it is because, I literally just did it was level 1 psychedelic sitting with medicinal mindfulness. They're based out of Boulder, and all this whole thing was through Zoom, but
Mhm,
um in the middle, it was like a 5-day training session, pretty in depth. Like, it was full day, and we did 3 full journeys, like, back to back to back.
mhm,
And, in the middle of the training, I was thinking to myself, there are so many people out there who are sitting who, you know, don't have either a psychology background or um, they don't they I mean, I hate to say that they don't have training, because I think sometimes this stuff, it from my perspective, and I know this is probably just my own very, personal perspective, some people are just born knowing inherently how to be a good sitter, how to be a good guide,
mhm.
Yeah.
and, I kinda call it, like, almost like past life, memory or things like that are kind of coming through, but, I was thinking to myself, "Man, even though I am a breathwork guide, having this sitting training is like beyond beneficial. Like it brought out things that I needed to be aware of. It brought out things that I needed to like just experience myself and know. And I don't know, it's like it was invaluable for me, you know. And it's not like rocket science necessarily, but just even going through the due diligence of being with a group of people, learning and experiencing this together, and then having the integration afterwards. I mean, I don't know how anybody can not do that, or I don't know. To me, it was just so important and almost like a non-negotiable.
Yeah, and I don't think everybody is meant to be a guide. Um,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I
Thank you.
I'm just saying, because like you said, I think there is training that people need. And what I actually want to do, I want to do a course on trip sitting, but I want to do two tracks. So one would be just want to keep your friend safe. How to do that.
Mhm.
So
I love that.
how to know about the physical drug interactions, if things pop off, what to do, things like that. Practical, basic things. Other track I want to do is more of that deep inner work training. So being trauma informed, how
Mhm.
to actively listen, how to really be a present human and not do eight things at once and just focus on the person in front of you, things like that. So training is a part of it, and yeah, I think that's needed.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
I, I couldn't agree more. Do you mind if I ask, like, now that you've done 7 different sessions with, probably a handful of different guides and sitters, what is the average cost of somebody sitting for you
Um, it's so wide ranging. So the first guide was, I think it was 800 or 900 for the session.
Oh my
for
goodness.
7 or 8 hours?
Yep.
No.
Okay.
Money I didn't have, but was desperate and was like, okay, whatever you want, you got it. And then the two after that were like nothing, just yeah, nothing, just come and be. So
Wow.
yeah, I just want to do this for you. So it's
That's so beautiful.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Man.
and I get it. It's an investment of emotional labor and time, and people should be compensated for that. And with that said, it shouldn't be so out of reach for so many people. So there's got to be a healthy medium in there somewhere between someone just gifting their time and also being charged, almost $1,000 for a session. So
Yeah, I know. This is also my question and I don't really have an answer for it, but
mm,
the clinical approach versus some of the more, I mean, I guess it would be considered underground right now, but underground approach, it's partly to do with accessibility too, like not everybody can afford the clinical psychotherapy approach
right,
in a clinical setting, right?
right,
It's so expensive. It's like thousands and thousands of dollars depending on what medicine it is that you're
yeah,
doing. And so yeah, it just all these questions I think are being raised right now.
yeah,
Um, and I think you also are seeing, psychedelic companies, like for-profit psychedelic companies now trying to patent the psychedelic therapy, which
yeah.
is, going to hike up those prices even more. I mean, there's a lot of stuff at play right now, and I feel like it's kind of the Wild West. But
Mhm. Yes.
that's, that's why these conversations are so needed
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I think it's just even if the answers aren't necessarily in front of us just yet, I feel like just talking about it and weighing the pros and cons and having these discussions is really important.
definitely. And I mean, I think while the answers aren't totally out there, I think there are some things we can do right now to take steps to make it more accessible. For example, on these sessions that cost 3 and 4 grand, I want there to be a box for someone to check to say, I want to sponsor a session for women of color. I want to donate
Mm,
more from my fee that I can easily pay on a credit card to someone that can't pay it quite so easily.
Yeah.
Because for someone that's nothing. That's
right.
nothing. So if everybody that could do that pitched in, that would make a huge difference. Starting a fund. I don't know how this will come about, but it's called the Psychedelic Equity Fund for people to donate so that people can have money or funds to access these resources. I just
I love
there
that.
are things that we can do that won't take years to implement. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's also so beautiful because it gives such a stronger sense of community,
Mhm.
Mhm, mhm.
like we're all in this together, we're all healing together. Like
Yeah.
no one should fall behind because of capitalism.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
and it's so the ethos of psychedelic plant medicine too,
Yeah.
like this connection. I just feel like, yeah, that would be incredible. Um, so you have actually been on a pretty, a lifelong healing journey yourself. What are some of the nuggets, like the most important pieces of wisdom that you have gleaned from just being on this journey and even like experiencing things that did not work for you? Is there almost kind of like, yeah, mantras or is there a piece of wisdom that you now carry with you that you just live by?
Oh, definitely. I think the main thing would be that I am my own best guide, and I know what's
Mm.
best for me. People may be
Yeah.
more educated than me, most are, and know more than me, most do. And with that, and with that, at the end of the day, I know what's best for me, and I'm going to trust my own wisdom and instincts to say yes or no. So trust yourself. That's what I live by. Trust myself.
That is so important. Oh my god, I'm so glad that you said that.
Because I've been to many doctors and healers who are like, you must do this. You want to feel better, try this. And I'm like, no, that's not for me. And yeah. So
Yeah. And you always want to feel like you're in a place where whatever exploration feels like you're resonating with, that
mhm.
you can explore that path without either judgment or um, lack of support in some
Mm,
way.
Mm,
yeah.
And yeah, I feel like this conversation comes up so often because it's like we are trained to look outside of ourselves for not just validation but credentials for
Hmm.
um,
mhm,
you know
mhm.
leadership and all of these things. And it's like this is again part of the healing process is coming back in, going inward and learning that like you have the answers. And I think it's a really incredible insight
Mhm.
to have gotten, especially and I hope that like everyone who starts this journey is able to like reconnect with their intuition and their instincts more deeply through these channels.
Yeah. I hope so too. Because I think society has made us believe that we don't know, but we do.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. 1,000%, and especially I feel like this kind of healing wellness community too. There's a lot of gurus out there,
Mhm.
and I feel like, you're you're serving a community of people that are vulnerable and are looking for healing, they're looking to be healed,
Yeah.
and some of these, I think, wellness experts, therapists, guides, whatever, I feel like they are capitalizing on that
Oh
vulnerability
yeah.
of people, and that's how they're making their millions or whatever, however much they're making.
Yeah.
I
Right.
feel like it's very much it's so easy to give your power away when you feel at your lowest and you're searching for healing for yourself, and you just want to trust somebody to help you down this path, not realizing you always had the power to heal within yourself. All these healers or therapists are doing are just simply guiding you. That's it. They're kind of just giving you the space to be able to heal yourself,
Yeah.
but you're the one doing the healing.
And I know from my own personal experience, when I'm in that place of desperation and just seeking and wanting to feel better, I forget that.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
forget that
Mhm.
I have the power inside, and it's so easy for me still to go like, "Can you just fix me? Like, what should I do?
Yeah.
Just tell me what to do." Um, so I really want to empower people to, I don't know, just to make their own choices and see that there's more than one path to this journey, and to find the path that's right for them. And yeah, just want to make it a little more gentle for people.
Well, the world definitely needs you and what you're doing with Black People Trip and
So,
your writing, your upcoming podcast and,
So
your book.
powerful.
Yeah,
thank you.
I think It's so needed. How can people reach you?
So they can find me on Instagram, Black People Trip. They can find me online at uh, blackpeopletrip.com. Website is being updated, but it's out there. They can email me, blackpeopletrip@gmail.com. And those are the main ways. So I'm out there at the same handle on every platform. So
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
yeah,
Yay. Thank you so much, Robin. This was
yeah.
awesome. And
Yeah.
I feel like this is the beginning of like future collaborations together. Like we would love to support you however we can.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, as you're building Black People Trip and just creating all these things that are going to be so helpful. And just us being part of the psychedelic community as well. I think they're just, however we can uplift diverse voices and, you know, that we will do everything in our power to do so. So thank you so much for just sharing with us.
I appreciate you both for the space and just the platform to share. So thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't wait to see what's next for you.
Me too. Me too. Yeah.
Music for Woo New is composed by Adam Miller.